Just for being on your property, you got to write a check to the government every year. So you're basically paying rent to the government to live on your own property.
Florida Governor Ron DeSantis doubled down on his criticism of the state's property taxes as he talked about the state's own DOGE-like initiatives Monday. But getting rid of property taxes is a risky proposition, according to a Florida-based think tank.
It's like you buy a home, you buy land, maybe you buy the home outright, but maybe you pay off a mortgage over 30 years. And then, okay, you've paid off the mortgage, you bought the land, you've been taxed many times. It's like, is it your property or not?
Earlier this month, DeSantis outright said he supported getting rid of property taxes in the state. Florida ranks in the middle of the country when it comes to property tax burdens. As for how to get rid of the tax, on X he wrote, "Property taxes are local, not state, so we need to do a constitutional amendment, which requires 60% of voters to approve, to eliminate them," which I would support, "or even reform lower them. We should put the boldest amendment on the ballot that has a chance of getting that 60%.
We've been cutting taxes, but people have seen their property tax liability go up over these last years because the property is being assessed higher and higher. And the reality is you don't really know how much your home is worth until someone offers you money and is willing to pull the trigger on a sale. That's how a market works. You can say it's worth this much, but if no one's willing to come and offer you that much, then why should you pay taxes on that amount?
The idea is more than lip service. Republican State Senator Jonathan Martin, representing Fort Myers, introduced a bill last week to explore the impact of eliminating property taxes in the state.
If you buy a home for $300,000 and you know there's certain tax, well then what? 10 years later, they say it's worth $700,000. I know we're going to be really looking at ways to bring people relief from that, because I think it's been really something that's pinching a lot of homeowners, particularly seniors on fixed income.
But in a state that already has no income tax, getting rid of property taxes would shift the tax burden elsewhere. The Florida Policy Institute says if lawmakers replaced property taxes with a consumption tax, it would double the state's sales tax rate to 12%. Influence Watch rates FPI left of center. FPI says the spike would make Florida's general sales tax the highest in the nation, disproportionately and negatively impacting households with low to moderate incomes, in addition to businesses and tourists. The report adds, if policymakers wanted to eliminate property taxes, they would need to raise $43 billion to maintain public services currently funded with property tax revenue. The Institute on Taxation and Economic Policy says across the U.S., local governments get 3/4 of their tax revenue for education, infrastructure, and public health from property taxes. FPI says it survives as the most important source of revenue in local governments, primarily because of its stability. A 2024 Redfin report reveals that Florida is home to 3 of the 5 U.S. metros where property taxes have increased the most since 2019. In Jacksonville and Tampa, that's a nearly 60% increase over 5 years. For Straight Arrow News, I'm Simone Del Rosario.